All right. Well, hello. May my hands be in an exciting prayer position for you, whomever you are, however you are. My name happens to be Dr. Joe Vertino, expert in the field of medicine, an appropriate thing to say in context of this video, part of my Christian series as of 2026 on my website, joevertino.org. The title is The Center of It All. So in the description, I mentioned the lyrics to this beautifully put together current song of the ages. Jesus be the center of it all. From my beginning to my end, your love will never end. Jesus be the center of it all. So those are the lyrics that are beautifully sung and arranged and repeated. And unlike every moment of our life, right? There's no repeats, right? Every single moment is its own thing, its own part of eternity. Unlike, we could say, our diet, if we have control over our food, our thought patterns, if we're working to control our mind, the paint color in our house from one day to the next, right? So, in that way, hearing this kind of gestures with both my physical body and my mouth could remind us of our center. So, the center of it all, we could first just be, and in that being, you can start to connect with it. You can start to remember it. You can start to allow it to be more in the center of our awareness, the center of our attention, the center of our life, our experience as a single person. And so that's kind of the setting for this video, right? So now going into some wisdom and sharing and movement as life demands. So if we think of free will and all of the options that we have in life, and that there are so many, right? There can be, we could say, an infinite or an unknowableness to it, that this lyrics of this song, of this summoning or this beckoning about our own center, our heart, we can understand logically maybe why that calling, that summoning is real, why it matters, why it happens in context of this infinite options, and that, well, is it more comfortable for me to be in this infinity, or is it more comfortable for me to be in my own center and to have an order, to have a balance, to have a path, purpose, and that understanding that God's business, we could say, is the infinity or the managing of infinity. So that's the whole phrase, the whole title, center of it all. So the all I just explained, that there's an infinity, there is a only one me, myself, and there is nothing that I can do about it. And that that's the second reason we could say this emotional aspect of the calling, the summoning of our own heart unto a deeper, truer way. Thus, the first word of the lyric, Jesus. Jesus. So Jesus Christ, in that way, if we think of it, if you want to understand, you don't have to think in any kind of way while watching this video. So exactly what's going on is appropriate. So for example, you might notice, or I'll explain that one, that when I say Jesus or Jesus Christ, that our mind, our attention from the past, obviously, right, could think of a whole bunch of things, right? Whole bunch of sheep going by our eyes that keep us up at night, even, to say, right? Who knows? And it could be obviously religious, a specific religion, very seriously. It can, which I'm not saying is good or bad. It can be personal and our connection with everybody else and just how I feel when I look at the eyes of that one man on the wall, preferably with a smile. So in that way, we could say the only way our true personal experience happens to be in context of this one man, Jesus Christ. So what do we know? We know that so far in our video, we aren't insulted, right? We know that our heart can start to flutter open, that we can feel stronger, at least for certain, in our spirit, and that there is we could say a more comfortable way of living that we can start to tune into also. Yes. So in particular, I can't help but say more words on the last one in context. So that being something called spirituality, right? So the center of it all, well, is it possible for us to take everything, this all, and make it into something that's something being physical that we could have, or if we were to have a hand, that it would sit in the hand of ours? No, it's kind of ridiculous. So you can understand spirit or the spiritual heart is that, makes sense. It's okay for it to make a lot of sense, you know. So the center of it all is this. It can be this big, overwhelming, unescapableness, and that also there's a joy in being included, in reality, in existence, in the infinity. And that the ands of life, right, are up to us, right? As I said at the beginning of this video, we have moment to moment to moment, that none of these moments can ever be the same, or that every single one of them has to be new, a new experience, unto us. And that maybe that language seems a little bit different or weird, right? And if you believe in past lives, maybe your heart chakra, your center of it all, will resonate with what I'm about to say. That if we practice meditation, the point of meditation is just alone only awareness. So that awareness is the whole thing, right? Is the whole thing of all of it. And that basically, if that is the whole point of awareness, or sorry, of meditation, is just awareness, this moment to moment newness, right? Like how my hands are passing in front of my eyes, right? As I'm explaining it again, starts to maybe ring a bell somewhere very, very deep inside of us somehow, that we can tune in, that we can resonate, that we can allow, that the searching mind can maybe have an innocent but pure stop in light of and inside of this whole allness, this infinity of all these options. And that stopping can make a lot of sense in this, in that that center, and that focus, that intention of just pure awareness. So in that way, if also we think about very real human interest, movies, films, stories, journal articles, of this idea of the human being wanting to return to this center of their being, their true self, their innocence, right? And that in that purely emotional, sociologically human way, we can understand further in this video. The center of it all. Is that image of Jesus Christ offensive? Is it intimidating? Is it superfluous? Is it innocent? Is it summoning, calling? Is it plain? So in that way, the only way, in the moment, if someone was to be in the moment, that divine connection or correlation, that I'm describing right now in this video is legal for everybody, right? That we're all included in it, that we're allowed to think in these terms, to live in this light, in this way, in this manner of clarity, to put it accurately. And I mentioned earlier in the video already, kind of dismissing this need to think with respect to our mind when I brought up Jesus Christ, and that we don't have to go into any particular place, so to speak, meaning that we can be here in this moment, in this video experience, and that it's enough. That the words, out of respect for the man that you're watching on the video, are good enough for me right now. That I am here with you in existence. And that we can, so making this point about the human interest, right? This other summoning reason or calling back, right? Forward in time and space, but back to our heart, to our center, is very, very real and innocent and undeniable. Irresistible, says existence, says the soul. That it's not a possible thing to transcend. That if we understand that everything has a center, and we can look out and see into the seemingly vast, the centers, plural. But if we, alas, do not allow our own hand, metaphorically and or physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in all the ways, to return to our own chest, to our own heart, to our own, what is our own, right? What is that really? What can we really say we possess, right? Our heart, we don't have to hold on to it, maybe like our shirt sometimes, right? But we are, it's the other way around, right? That our limbs and our head are being held in place by our heart, and that, so in that way, that that can never be superfluous, that can never be irrelevant, because we aren't. But what matters less, even to say further about this video, even though there are so many hearts and centers, that being at this place right now of what we could say is a practice of joy, of clarity, of education, healing, growth, optimism, hope, wisdom, enlightenment, that this is something that has a needle in its haystack, that there's a meaning, right? That if I was to just be talking about video games or cards with the same exact look, it would have less reason to raise my hand above my lap while I'm talking. So in that way, the center of it all can't ever exclude us, and that even further, we get to connect with it. And that, just like I mentioned earlier about Jesus Christ, that we still don't have to go in any direction with our awareness. That we wouldn't have to do that, right? And that we can sense and not make any claims or words if we don't want to, maybe for years, about an experience that is that calling, that summoning. And you'll notice also, so far in this video, I haven't mentioned personal things like of my career, my belief, my relationships, my preferences, my ideas about the future based off just my past, and my ideas, about the past based off people's goals that I listen to today, all these kind of different personal things, that none of that really has to be in this video. And that's what you're being called towards, that divine reality. It happens to be in the Christian series on my website. And I am very proud of myself. I am proud of my love, my openness, my joy, my freedom. And I'm proud of you, no matter what. That my heart, my center, allows me to be that way. We could say because I have been listening to the summon, to the calling. And that we could say there's a reason that my hands are so involved in this potential satsang somewhere else in the world in the future, online or in person, to share my business pitch in that way. Feel free to very much follow your highest excitement and reach out to me in context in lieu of this exciting experience that I'm giving you in this video. And that, we could say, is the point I can say about life in context of the center of it all. If we understand that the all in all, returning to that idea of infinity, the idea of this multi options existence, right? That there's so many, and that knowing ourself could never diminish this beautiful world that we have. And that resonating with the center of it all, a divine reality, something that doesn't have to some would say something that doesn't have to bow where we would have to bow our physical head, or it doesn't have to present itself, but we can find it. Something that we can see and sense and feel with certain people. In history, like Jesus Christ. That this life can have a joy, a happiness, a security in the divine reality without us cheating the system, without us denying maybe anything. But to be practical, without us denying what? Ourself, and that there's free will, right? That there's all these options, that apparently it's infinite. So in that way, the center of it all is something that no matter what can't ever really go. But what do? Well, we have bodies and thoughts and feelings and movement and everything. And what can we do? Well, obviously the point of this video is a calling, a summoning. A clarity. So in that way, I hope maybe we could say more of life makes sense after this 22 minutes with Dr. Joe Bertino in this video, Center of It All, on my Christian series as of 2026 on joevertino.org. Thank you so much for tuning in. I pray that, as always, you feel respected, that you feel honored, which is always serious. And know that this person, no matter what, did, does, will respect you, honors you, and is grateful for you. And that, as I did mention earlier, and I'll end with this, earlier in the video, I mentioned meditation and the practice of meditation, this point of it being pure awareness, as in my hands being in front of my eyes, and that the perception just becomes, maybe we could say, more important than the hands. You know, it doesn't mean that the hands aren't real, that the thoughts, the feelings with respect, to our emotions don't matter, but that it's possible, just to say at the end of this video, it's possible, it's worth your time to pay attention and realize pure awareness. All right. I love you. Angel blessings. Thank you so much. Please do comment, share, subscribe, hire me, reach out. I'm very respectful and interesting. All right.